Let's talk about the Chinese herbal formula, Xiao Yao San. Let's dive in. This is probably one of the more popular formulas that I prescribe in my day-to-day practice. And it's a really great formula, simple formula, and usually well tolerated by most people. In a Chinese medicine way, the way we describe this is that it is for a liver qi stagnation or liver constraint, as well as a blood deficiency. Now, what the heck does that mean? So when using Chinese herbs, we have a traditional Chinese medicine usage for them, right? And we use a whole different set of language to kind of describe this. So for this formula, we say it's for liver qi constraint or liver qi stagnation along with maybe a blood deficiency. So it can be a little bit difficult to kind of translate this into traditional like Western terms, but in Chinese medicine, the liver is responsible for circulation of qi, among other things, as well as storage space for the blood. And when we are not circulating our qi gets stuck, right? That's what we would maybe call like a liver qi stagnation. When that happens, emotionally, we can lead to feelings of frustration, anxiety, depression, and even anger. And then physically, this can often manifest as maybe hypochondriac pain, for women especially, a lot of PMS symptoms like breast distension, irregular periods, etc., etc. So it's a really interesting formula that I have found quite useful for mood. So things like anxiety and depression, and there are quite a few studies now on using it for anxiety. So that is one way I will use it. Sometimes it can even be combined with, if you're on an anxiolytic medication, it can even be combined with that. And I will leave links down in the description box to some of the studies that show it's actually can actually enhance the effect of your anti-anxiety medication, and it's safe and effective. So that's one way I'll use it. I myself have used this formula. This was like my holy grail when I was studying for med school. It was like stressed out, overwhelmed, like anxious, constantly taking tests and constantly feeling unprepared. Let's be honest. But this one really got me through, like helping me deal with the chronic stress. And that's another way that I tend to use this one as well. I use it a lot when people are really, really stressed out or chronically stressed. A lot of times they'll get like headache. They'll start feeling really anxious, frustrated. A lot of women sometimes will come in and say, my husband is chewing and I want to murder him. Not in a real way, but like that sort of built up emotion or pent up emotion or that frustration. This can be a great way, like we would say in Chinese medicine, we're releasing liver qi stagnation or liver constraint. And I find that it is really helpful in that way. Another way, as I mentioned previously, is using it for irregular periods, symptoms of PMS or perimenopause and even menopause. So again, alternating chills and fevers or sometimes like hot flashes and night sweats it can be helpful with. Also I mentioned breast distension and also irregular periods. In Chinese medicine, if the qi is not circulating or if there is a blood deficiency, a lot of times we'll get irregular periods or maybe have scanty menses or maybe delayed onset of your menstrual cycle. So this formula can be really helpful in that. So these are just a few ways that I use this formula, really popular formula. Again, generally really well tolerated. There are a number of ways to take it. The most common way, or easiest way I should say, is in a tea pill form. They're usually like really small pills. I'll leave some links down to some brands that I actually use. And I'll usually dose that according to symptoms and kind of build up that formula. It is a formula I generally have people on for a longer period of time, weeks to months. And maybe I cycle it on and off, or maybe just bring it on when there's a period of chronic stress or if cycles get dysregulated. So T-pills is usually the easiest way to get it into people. There are other brands that have capsules, so bigger pills. You can do it in a powdered form and drink it as a tea, what we call granules. Actually, this one doesn't taste too bad. There are a lot of formulas that are disgusting. This one is not bad. So you usually get pretty good compliance in taking this one as a powder. And then there is the traditional way to use dried herbs in which you will decoct them or boil them or let them steep for usually considerable amount of time to kind of extract everything out. For this one, you usually need to find like a local dispensary that will first practitioner to prescribe them, and then the local dispensary to go pick them up, and they'll give you instructions as to how to cook your herbs. So that's usually the nastiest way to take herbs. And I think generally like a more powerful form. They seem to be more potent in that way. I tend, for certain formulas, I'm very much an advocate for Xiao Yao San. I don't always find it necessary to go that hard or be that strict with it. Usually the T-pill version will do a lot of good. So I hope that this was helpful. This is just, I wanted to share more of what, since I also am a acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist, I wanted to actually share some of the formulas that I use. I know I talk a lot about Western herbs, so I want to share some of the more common formulas that I use. So again, that I can empower you and you can know what is available and out there as alternatives for your health and wellness. So hope that this is helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.